salty Gulf Coast to the rolling high plains, to the piney woods in the east. All across our dear Texas, folks need good food to eat. Our farmers and ranchers are heroes. They've always made Texas great. Texas agriculture matters. It's the heart of the Lone Star State. Oh, Texas got it all, y'all.
Well, howdy, neighbors. I'm your Texas Agriculture Commissioner, Sid Miller. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Texas Agriculture Matters right here on RFD-TV. Now today, we're going to talk about one of the most impactful pieces of legislation related to agriculture. Roughly every 5 years, a new bill called the Farm Bill is passed by Congress and signed into law by the President. This specific bill governs much of the United States food and agriculture system and carries great weight in relation to the livelihood of farmers and ranchers across the nation, the food they grow, and how their crops can be grown. Issues relating to commodity support, rural development, crop insurance, nutrition assistance, and conservation efforts are all hot topics when it comes to the Farm Bill. The Farm Bill assists American farmers and ranchers in managing risk through crop insurance and ag credit programs. And the bill helps with our marketing systems, ensuring everyone has to play by the same rules. Agriculture is no stranger to the Farm Bill. The original Farm Bill was enacted in 1930 as part of President Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal legislation, with three main goals in mind: keep food prices fair for farmers and consumers, ensure an adequate food supply, and protect and sustain the country's vital natural resources. Now, the Farm Bill has certainly seen some changes in the last 70 years, but those three key principles remain the same. Just like clockwork, this September, the Farm Bill is set to expire. In fact, right now, lawmakers, stakeholders, industry leaders are all diligently working together to update the previous version of the Farm Bill, which was passed in 2018. So, let's join Tammy Arender as she meets with some of our industry leaders to gain their perspective on the 2023 Farm Bill. Hey, just another way Texas agriculture matters.
The Congressional Western Caucus hosts a roundtable discussion and listening session at the Cowboy Channel studios in Fort Worth, Texas. The group of congressmen and women focus on issues facing rural America, not just in western states, but all over the country. Congressman Dan Newhouse of Washington State is the chairman.
90 members of Congress that get together regularly to put forward ideas and efforts to improve life in rural America.
While Farm Bill discussions are already underway on Capitol Hill, it's important for lawmakers to get out and meet with stakeholders from the agriculture sector. Chairman of the House Agriculture Committee, G.T. Thompson of Pennsylvania, was excited about the opportunity to visit Texas and have one-on-one discussions with Ag Commissioner Sid Miller.
Sid's a great guy. He's doing such a great job as commissioner. Kind of a new friend for me, and looking forward to. We've already had some great conversations, and I look forward to continuing that conversation as we prepare for the 2023 Farm Bill.
The panel discussed their priorities for the Farm Bill. It's set to expire at the end of September. For Congressman Austin Scott of Georgia, he says it's imperative to get a Farm Bill done that's impactful across the board.
So we've got to legislate based on facts, not emotion, and that's one of the attacks from the left is going to be as we try to do things for commodities and ag production and our food supply in the country. They're going to, they go off on this tangent saying, oh, well, farmers aren't good stewards of the environment. And it's just nonsense. I mean, if you own the land, you're going to take care of the land. That's all there is to it. Our kids swim in the ponds. Our kids swim in the lakes. I mean, it's, and so we're going to govern based on facts, not emotion, and we're going to get this thing done over the next couple of months.
Congressman Jim Baird of Indiana would also like to see more funding for research and biofuels.
So the research we do now and in the future is going to be important to make sure we can handle that demand on agriculture. And then biotechnology, I think, is going to be a tremendous advantage for us to be able to develop the products and so on, the crops, the animals, the livestock, because we can use biotechnology to incorporate health issues, correct health issues for humanity, but we can also use it to have protection for animal diseases and poultry diseases. And so that technology is really advancing fast. So biotechnology to me is going to be really important in the future.
While in Texas, the lawmakers got a chance to visit some ag operations, including Eden Green, a vertical farming enterprise showcasing the advantages of growing upward with water, not just linear in land.
This is the industry that every American family relies on at least 3 times a day, and more than that when you look at what we do for jobs, the economy, nutrition, quite frankly, a cleaner environment and a better climate.
After the farm tours, the members come back together at the Cowboy Channel studio in the stockyards to discuss concerns and challenges facing rural America, a top priority for Rural Media Group founder and CEO Patrick Gotch.
You know, one of our goals when we first started RFD-TV was to be a link between, you know, Washington, D.C. and the farmers and ranchers around the country and the general public to provide exposure for these issues that are important, that aren't not covered by urban-based channels. So this is the best thing we've done in 23 years, to have so many folks come in here to Texas, tour a couple farms, a couple ranches, and then come down here and do these seminars.
I'm Tammy Arender for Texas Agriculture Matters.
Thanks, Tammy. We sure appreciate all that you do. Folks, today it's my pleasure to have Congressman Ronnie Jackson joining me. Dr. Ronnie Jackson serves in the 13th Congressional District and is a member of the House Agriculture Committee in the United States Congress. Ronnie, thanks for coming on the show today.
Hey, thanks for having me, Sid. I appreciate it.
You bet. Now, Ronnie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, you know, Sid, I was born and raised in Texas. I was raised just west of Lubbock, a little town called Levelland. It's a rural community that really revolves around 2 industries: the oil industry and farming and ranching, mainly farming, mostly cotton farming, to be honest. But that's where I was born and raised, and I ended up going off to Texas A&M, became a marine biology major, and never really ended up doing marine biology. Ended up instead going to med school. And I didn't have a way to pay for any of that. So ultimately ended up on a scholarship for the Navy. And I ended up as a Navy physician, as a Navy emergency medicine physician, in fact, and as a diving doctor assigned to, diving units, Navy SEALs, EOD, salvage teams, underwater demolition teams, things of that nature for the first part of my career. Spent a couple of years with the United States Marine Corps with the 2nd Marines, including a year in Iraq on the battlefield between Fallujah and Ramadi, and then ended up at the White House. And I was a physician at the White House and the physician to the president for 14 years at the White House for the Bush administration, the Obama administration, and the Trump administration. And I ended up retiring as a Navy Rear Admiral in 2019, December 19, 3 days before the filing deadline to run for office in the 13th Congressional District. Just kind of one thing led to another. I decided I was going to run for office. I filed 2 hours before the filing deadline. I ended up getting elected, and now I'm in my 2nd term here in the U.S. House of Representatives.
Well, good. You know, as a congressman, tell us what your role is in helping pass the 2023 Farm Bill.
Well, we've been working on it for a while. You know, in the last Congress, the Democrats had the majority in the House, and there wasn't a lot going on, to be honest with you. I think we got real behind on what we should have been doing as far as preparing for the Farm Bill with regards to listening sessions and hearings and things of that nature. I was not on the Ag Committee my first term in Congress. I'd asked to be, but there was no spot for me because we didn't have the majority. And so I started the Texas Ag Task Force so that I could be intimately involved in what's going on the ag side. And we did a lot of good stuff there, but now I'm on the Ag Committee, and so I have a big role in it right now. Right now I'm on the subcommittee for commodities, risk management, and credit. It's one of my subcommittees. I'm on the other subcommittee is livestock, poultry and dairy, and so I have a big role in what goes on, especially in the 13th Congressional District. I know you know this, Sid, but my congressional district is the #1 ag district in the state of Texas. We're #1 in the state as far as wheat goes, corn. We're #2 in cotton, and we have just a really big ag industry. We're also we're #1 in dairy production, #1 in pork production. We're #1 in the state of Texas for beef production. We're #1 nationwide for fed cattle. And so my district lives and breathes ag, and that's why it was so important for me to get on the ag committee. So I have a big role in the upcoming farm bill. I mean, this is a big year. Every 5 years we reauthorize the farm bill, and that's happening this year. So it's a big one. But we're working hard. We're trying to catch up with our with a lot of the stuff that should have been going on for the last 2 years. We got a great chairman, Chairman G.T. Thompson from Pennsylvania. He's he's been on the ag committee for a long time, a very, very well-respected member of Congress, and really a big advocate for farmers and ranchers.
Hey, folks, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more from Congressman Ronnie Jackson right here on Texas Agriculture Matters. Stay tuned. So, Congressman, what are your priorities for the Farm Bill? Just name off
Sid,
a few for us.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I actually brought a few things in. I just could read off to you here real quick. I'm big on animal health right now. Everybody's kind of got their lane, and so it's not that I'm not interested in all the other stuff that's going on in ag, because I really am. But you got to pick your one thing and go with it. So I introduced the Foreign Animal Disease Prevention, Surveillance, and Rapid Response Act recently, which is going to be a really big deal. And sometimes, City, you hear them refer to the three-legged stool with regards to animal health, and this program makes sure that we're well funded and that we support the National Animal Disease Preparedness and Response Program, the National Animal Vaccine and Veterinary Countermeasures Bank, and the National Animal Health Laboratory Network. And this is why this is important. This is money that goes into these programs, but without these programs, that we're really vulnerable to the diseases that could come to our country from foreign countries. And some of these diseases are big deals. I wrote down here a few notes on, the USDA has spent a ton of money already on high-path avian influenza. It's in 58 million birds in 47 states. They've already spent $800 million trying to combat this because it got into our bird population here. And so that's a big part of it. African swine fever, as you know, is now in Haiti and the Dominican Republic. And if you look on a map, that is very close to the United States. It's right on our doorstep. And, the estimates are that it would cost us $50 billion over 10 years if that came here to the United States. It'd be a big deal. Foot and mouth disease, obviously everybody talks about that in the cattle industry, big deal. That would cost us $57 million a day if that ended up here. So I think that's really important to fund these prevention programs. So I've been working really hard on that. Other things I'm working on, we're working on allowing the STACs and PLC enrollment together. As you remember, back in the 2014 Farm Bill, cotton farmers were cut out of PLC and ARC, some of these programs that are really important to them. It was based on the some trade stuff that was going on at the time, and so now we're reinstituting the STACs program, which is going to be specifically for cotton farmers. And then lastly, I'll tell you that one thing I hear about all the time, and you probably hear about this as well, is the reference process. So we're trying to get the reference process adjusted. The reference process were from a 2014 Farm Bill based on 2012 prices, so they're not relevant anymore, and we really got to get those reference prices up so that these programs matter.
So here's a question everybody wants to know. I believe this Farm Bill is due in September. So do you think the Senate and the House will get a Farm Bill on time?
I sure hope so. I think that Chairman G.T. Thompson is definitely committed to that. I've heard that, over on the Senate side, Chairwoman Stabenow is also committed to doing that. There's a lot of work to be done, though. We're closing out now. Tomorrow is the deadline for members to get their priorities in, and so we've got a lot of our stuff in. Most of the members are in there. We're going to start writing the Farm Bill this summer, so we'll spend the summer writing it, and then we're going to get together and hopefully vote it out of committee and get it to the floor of the House in early, as soon as we come back from our August recess, and then get it over to the Senate. They'll be working on theirs as well. We'll bring them together. There'll be a conference between the Senate and the House. We'll come up with a common bill. We hope to get that signed before the end of the year, get it on the president's desk, and have it done. That is the plan. And so everybody's working hard on doing that. But it's one of the biggest bills that we do here. We do the National Defense Authorization Act every year. We do the Farm Bill every 5 years. Those are must-pass bills that we've got to get done, and we're working hard on making it happen.
Ronnie, we're just about out of time, but I always want to ask this question. Why do you think Texas agriculture matters?
Well, I'll just tell you, Sid, you look at some of the numbers I gave you. I think in the state of Texas in particular, the ag industry is responsible for almost 9% of our GDP for our state. And, it really is. It's just so important in feeding and clothing, not just the United States, but other places all over the world rely on the agriculture industry from the state of Texas. And I just think it's really important. I think I fight this battle all the time because a lot of my counterparts up here, especially on the other side of the aisle, some of the Democrats, they don't understand the importance of agriculture. They come from urban areas, and you really have to educate them on how important it is to keep these farmers and ranchers in business with the insurance programs and some of the relief programs that we have out there. These have to be healthy, because if not, these people will go out of business, and it will have a huge impact, not just on the state of Texas, but on all of us. And beyond that, I just think it's a good, wholesome way to earn a living. I grew up in a farming community. I know you've been around it your whole life, and that's where you learn a lot of really great values. You learn to work hard, and you learn how to deal with failure and how to deal with disaster and things that don't go right in your life. And that's just something that a lot of folks don't learn anymore. And I think it's a healthy place to grow up, and I want to make sure that we keep it healthy so our Texas families, and especially our farm and ranch families, can survive and thrive.
Well, Ronnie, thanks for being with us today. Thanks for your service to our country, and thanks for what you're doing now. God bless you.
You bet, Sid. Thank you for all you do, because you keep Texas healthy.
Now, neighbors, let's take a look at the Texas Department of Agriculture's Go Texan program.
People out here have an agreement with the land. They ranch it, they farm it, they love it. It's a good place. And they're good people.
And good things come from that.
Choose Texas agricultural products. Go Texan.
Just doesn't taste right if it's not in Texas.
Make sure you're getting the best agricultural products you can. Go Texan.
Well, neighbors, thank you for joining us for another episode of Texas Agriculture Matters. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about the 2023 Farm Bill and the influence it has on American agriculture producers. Nearly 1,000 pages long, this one piece of legislation sets the stage for our agriculture food systems and how we feed the world. Now, as leading advocates for our industry, it's our duty to make sure this bill supports our farmers, ranchers, and consumers for generations to come. As always, I'd like to close by saying thanks to every Texas farmer and rancher who works from sunrise to sunset to help keep our rural heritage alive. Finally, here's today's cowboy logic. Now, muddy water, best way to clear it up, just leave it alone. Thank you. God bless. And remember, friends, Texas agriculture matters.